people in it. Oh my God, there's so many people in it.
Things were getting actually real out there. Like, we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster.
I think it's more of a recovery mission at this point. We hope and pray children that are unaccounted for by some miracle found alive.
It's Mother Nature, we can only do but so much. We can't control the weather, and the weather has, and Mother Nature has a way of telling us how insignificant we really are.
And let me show you what I found here. So from Tuesday to Thursday morning, now remember this happened really early Friday morning in Kerr County, specifically talking about near Hunt, for Camp Mystic area. So from Tuesday to Thursday morning, forecasts from the National Weather Service in San Antonio and Austin mentioned the potential for flooding. So, a couple of days leading up to the event, they were mentioning the potential for heavy rain and flooding. At 1:18 in the afternoon Thursday, so this would be the afternoon before this happened, a flood watch was issued through Friday morning. The flood watch mentioned up to 7 inches of rain and the possibility of rivers flooding. Kerr County was included in that initial flood watch Thursday afternoon. By 6:10 Thursday evening, a special discussion was issued. What this means is it's just an area highlighted, an area of interest where the forecast is becoming a little bit more clear and the dynamics of what might take shape become a little bit more obvious. And some of the things mentioned in that discussion were things like concerning trends, flash flooding likely, rainfall rates higher than 3 inches per hour. Now we go all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday. At 1:06 early in the morning on Friday, the first flash flood warning for Kerr County was issued, and this was a unique one in a sense. The tag of considerable was issued with this warning. Now, what does that mean? When the National Weather Service puts in considerable or catastrophic or devastating into these tags or in these warnings, that typically triggers the wireless emergency alerts on cell phones. That, how your cell phone will go off during a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning. Tags like that will sound them for flash flood warnings. At 2:28 in the morning on Friday, there was a communication delivered by the National Weather Service saying that up to 5 inches of rain had fallen and flash flooding had likely begun in Kerr County. Again, that was at 2:28 in the morning on Friday. At 3:02 in the morning on Friday, another communication went out saying that a dangerous flash flood event is unfolding in south central Kerr County. We go then to 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:03 Friday, a flash flood emergency was issued for Kerr County. A very small fraction of flash flood warnings actually get that upgrade. This is usually when flash flooding can turn deadly very quickly. Then by 4:20 in the morning on Friday, the Guadalupe River at Hunt, which is very close to Camp Mystic technically in Hunt, reaches major flood stage. The major flood stage for the river there, 22 feet. It crested at 29.45 feet at 4:35 in the morning.
Oh, look.
Oh my God, look at that spider.
So many different aspects of what happened, and there's so many other people who were affected by this. But when you hear these acts of heroism of people reaching out and trying to rescue other people, we saw that fire rescue boat get that 22-year-old from that tree. She was in there for hours. I thought about you guys, Dave, Texas, and EquuSearch Midwest. You guys are on standby, I understand, you and Twyla?
Yeah, the Midwest is on standby. Again, we haven't put it officially out because we want to make sure that when we do this, we can do this the right way in the most efficient way that we could possibly do this. The utter devastation that you just can't put your mind to this.
Down there is where the river stands tonight, and we wanted to show you how high it rose, more than 30 feet, even higher from where we are broadcasting live tonight, wiping out everything in its way. Crews setting out on airboats and diving into the river, all trying to find signs of life. Survivors trapped, airlifted from their homes to safety. You see it right here. The destruction immense. You can see bridges wiped out completely. And new videos showing the quick rise of the nearby Llano River. This in under an hour. You can see the heartbreaking images, the high water line inside the cabins where children slept. muddied mattresses, stuffed animals and trunks all left behind. With so many holding out hope, more will be found alive.
What we have been using to keep track of all of our volunteers is a product called CalTopo. And CalTopo actually, you set it on your phone and you can tell who's been in that area, where they are live, and they can actually watch this through satellites back at the command center and see exactly how quickly we're moving, where we're going. They've even made it now to where you can take pictures and upload them to be on the CalTopo map from what you found where to GPS it. So there's a plethora of things that that they're basically using to keep track of everybody out there and to know who's been where, so they can efficiently move further down, or some of them may be working down at the furthest point and working backwards, or both.
Tonight, battling the heat, mud, and misery, they're looking for any signs of life. Search and rescue teams on the Guadalupe River furiously combing through massive mountains of debris.
We're in the middle of the river right now, and just behind me, you can see why this search and recovery is so complicated. There are mounds of this mangled steel and tree branches and tree trunks. This team is trying to figure out a way inside to see what, if anything, or anyone is still trapped.
An all-out search for survivors by water, air, and horseback.
All over this area, you see homes and trailers and RVs with this giant orange X. It means they've been searched. We hope whoever lived in here got out, because you can see what the river water did to this, flipping this entire RV over, destroying everything inside.
Unthinkable things. There's things that no one ever would have thought they've seen in their lifetime.
So many people were in their beds, fast asleep, when the floodwaters began to rapidly rise early on the 4th of July. The catastrophic flooding killing at least 104 people in 6 counties. Bonner, Sarah Marsh, Janie Hunt, Eloise Peck, and twins Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence. Just some of the young campers whose lives were cut tragically short. Kellyanne Latal is still missing. You can see the flood's devastating toll on the century-old all-girls camp in these images. Look at how high the water came into the cabin. A camp nurse posting this haunting video of some of the little girls singing as they evacuated.
The Lord above has gone to me.
Yeah, Ed, you said this is a natural disaster. This is Mother Nature. We have no control over it. And there's all kinds of arguments going on about notifications and so forth. Right now, the main task is to find and recover any survivors and bring the bodies of those young children and adults that are out there that perished in this natural disaster.
It brought back memories of Sandy up here in the Northeast, especially where I live in Staten Island, how the water raised up and brought boats that were down in Great Kills Harbor and brought them miles and miles away from where they were initially moored. It just shows you, despite all of our technology and all of our human activities, that Mother Nature has a way of telling us how insignificant we are and who's in charge.
Yeah, nobody will be the same. This changes everything. EquuSearch Midwest and Texas EquuSearch, they work hand in hand. And when it comes to natural disasters, it doesn't have to be missing people. And it comes to things like this, they get the call from local law enforcement, state law enforcement. And Texas is well known, and so is EquuSearch Midwest up here in the Ohio and the Northeast region, and throughout the United States. But they get the calls because they operate in a professional manner. They know how to search.
Number one is, of course, to hopefully find live victims, those people who may still be clinging to life somehow after this historic flood.
Take them over down to the river crossing. Come back and get some more. You got plenty of water.
Outside the town of Ingram this afternoon, members of Texas EquuSearch mount up again in their all-terrain vehicle. They're also on foot, making their way on day 3 of this desperate mission to find survivors of this historic, heartbreaking flood.
We're crossing the river here with heavy equipment, and our volunteers will surround the heavy equipment as we dismantle brush piles. The brush piles out in that river are 30 and 40 foot tall.
The work is dirty and depressing, and most of what the EquuSearch members have found so far are dead bodies. But they will press on for many more days to come in the hopes that they'll be able to rescue just a few of the victims.
Dave, could you describe to the audience the methods that they were using there, doing a grid search, pattern search, and so forth as it pertains to this search?
The way it looked to me on the film, because we don't have the heavy equipment to go off of, our main job with foot searchers is to basically go through some of the smaller, more controllable debris piles that we can get through. It'll still take you some time. It's going to take you a while, but what you try to do is depending on how many is in your group, you split them up and try to cover as much ground as thoroughly and as cautious as you possibly can with what you got. So, but it looks to me like they're doing all of the smaller, more controllable debris piles, and then they'll come back in. They'll probably make X's or something to know that has been searched. So that way we don't lose valuable time on double checking things.
Well, how does everybody know what they search? And everything is detailed. There's a command post that they come back to, and they don't just go out there and randomly search. Each one of these groups go out with law enforcement, and they're told this is the area that you're to search, and they get it done.
And there's universal markings and symbols that we place on structures and locations to show that we've been there and we searched here, and so that nobody else wastes any effort on searching things that were already searched. Now, in addition to all of these hazards, there's going to be a lot of toxic materials that get swept by the water into the water and into the surrounding areas. So all of these volunteers and searchers have to be concerned about that. And then the indigenous wildlife, okay? I mean, these indigenous wildlife have been moved out of their natural habitats and are going to be found in some of these same areas that, okay, where do you think these animals are going? They're being taken by the river as well and deposited in other parts they're not familiar with. So, I mean, there's a lot of dangers in that the searchers have to be careful of.
But I know when you guys were on other searches, there were black bear, there's snakes, there's all different kinds of things. And Ed just brought up a point. You know, all the wildlife they're all been, just as the human beings have been taken down 20 miles downstream, they've been removed from their natural environment, and they could be hungry, they could be agitated, and so forth. And these searchers look like regular everyday moms, dads, grandmothers, mothers.
The other thing too is that there's a plethora of things that they're basically using to keep track of everybody out there and to know who's been where, so they can efficiently move further down, or some of them may be working down at the furthest point and working backwards, or both.
It hurts my heart. I stayed up last night till like 3 o'clock in the morning, sent me some pictures, and it's bad. It's like something I've never seen before in my life. We've helped with the drones and foot searchers to do searching after floods, and I've never seen nothing like this in my life, ever. I can't imagine the pain that these parents are going through. I look at my kids and I'm like, this, I take my kids to a creek every single day. And one day last week it started raining, and within 10 minutes that water had gotten up about this much more than what it was. So I can't I mean, I'm speechless with it. My heart hurts. I want to do whatever I possibly can. And I told Miller today, is there anything that I could come out there and do? Because if so, I'd be glad to come. Dave will be glad to come. Our team's ready to go. I've had some of my teammates reach out to me and ask me, hey, are we going to Texas? What can we do to help? I've had teams out here in Tennessee that's assisted us on cases before, asking what they can do to help. It's a lot, and it's a lot to recover from. And from what I understand, there's still so many people out there that's unaccounted for, and it's the unknown that's scary.
Here we are in the middle of a natural disaster, a massive search and rescue and a recovery effort going on. And now you have jagaloons that are flying drones to get their own footage. You guys here at EquuSearch, they'll use those drones to get footage to look for possible areas of interest where there may be remains or maybe people still alive. And now you have everything grounded. Ed, your thoughts on this jagaloon behavior?
And it was restricted area too, Ed. That's what really pisses me off.
Well, if he was licensed, Part 107 license, he's going to lose the license, or whoever that person is, whether it's a he or she, and rightfully so. I mean, they shouldn't be up in that environment, interfering with rescue operations in restricted airspace. You know, when you put the drone up, before you put the drone up, you're supposed to check the NOMAS and other restrictions for the area, and they should have known that they weren't supposed to put that drone up, and if they chose to do it anyway, then they should be arrested.
It's bad. It's awful, because it makes it hard for people that is doing the right thing to go out there with the drones, but it gives the people with drones bad names that's doing it the right way.
Right. Well, your drone can't lift a human being off the ground and rescue them, but that now you just damaged that helicopter that could have done that, and now that helicopter's grounded.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Because you weren't thinking. You were trying to get some footage or something to sell to the news. What were you doing? What were you doing?
Yep.
It reminds you of a tsunami.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when the water rushes back out to the sea first before it comes in. Yeah.
30 minutes, and it was up like 25 feet. The debris piles is like 25 and 30 feet tall. It's taking these trees down like it's crazy.
And these people that are filming this think they're in a safe location, and they're really not. And now just imagine being a person in that, being swept away with all that debris that's in there now hitting you, and what its effects on a human body could be.
This is obviously someone filming this from a higher location, but they don't seem to be that high up. I don't know if this is zoomed in.
That water's going to be up to that bridge where they're standing in just a few minutes.
Yeah, look how high it's gone in this short amount of time that he's been filming.
Yeah, and this is real time. This is not slowed down. This is normal time. So we're 2 minutes into this thing.
Yeah, and here shortly, in just about maybe 8-9 minutes, when the video continues, it literally gets up to the bottom of this bridge, and you can actually see cars driving across that bridge when that water gets up there. It gets all the way up there to those rails.
You know, sometimes people put themselves in harm's way, like this person doing this videotape. In a heartbeat, you know, it could flip on you, and then you become a victim.
Hey, Ed, I wanted to ask you, there's somebody on foot here. I stopped this video. Did you see the person with the red shirt right here where my cursor is?
Yeah, and he moved forward to the left.
Yeah.
He's behind this bush right now, this tree here. He's behind this tree.
We're going to come into focus right here. Oh, he was actually wearing black.
There he is. Yeah. It's
dangerous as hell.
It's like the Bigfoot film. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
You're heading towards danger. You're not using your brain.
It actually looked like somebody was up in that tree.
This is 4 days, okay? July 4th. It happened early, going into the morning of July 4th. So a full day, July 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Is this still a search and rescue, or is this more gearing up towards a recovery effort at this point? Like, I'll ask you first, Ed.
Well, as an emergency responder, you're going to say search and rescue to keep hope for those that are missing loved ones. You don't want to say search and recovery. And even though that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, it's, within the first 24 up to 48 hours, absolutely, you're in full blast rescue mode. And then as time goes on, it's unfortunately, with what you've been put through as far as with the heat, the elements, no food, the dehydration, how hurt are you, the extent of your injuries, that's going to play an important role also. So, you want to hang on to hope as long as you possibly can, but at some point in time, you have to think realistically and start going in a different direction.